Hey, Fight fans, it's Michelle Joy Phelps, and I'm joined now with none other than the Magic Man himself, Paulie Malignaggi. Paulie, I've been stalking you all this whole week trying to get this interview with you.
Well, you found me. You found me, and we got some time, so let's do it.
All right, I know they're probably going to start in probably T-minus 8 minutes, so I'm going to get right to it. Okay. Paulie, you always manage to keep yourself in the headlines, which you are
Even by accident.
One of the things that stood out to me was I wasn't at the press conference as of recent, the one that you had with Artem, but you said that you were thinking of pulling out your penis and pissing in his mouth, and then you also mentioned putting him into a coma. Some pretty strong words.
It was spur of the moment for sure, but I'm not gonna say I regret it or anything. I think there's a line you don't cross with fights. Obviously, even with trash talk, it's supposed to be respectable at the end of the day. Even if you want to amp up a fight, and of course people want to see it, but I think Artem's side and that whole side in general crossed that line 2 years ago already. So once you cross that line, I don't really find the need to respect any kind of line at all. So I don't really know what to say about that. You usually say, okay, man, I usually do believe that there's certain lines you don't cross, even when it comes to trash talk, and even when you elevate it a little bit, there's still certain lines you don't talk, and it can still be fun, and it can still promote a fight. But I do believe that there's lines you don't cross, but I don't believe in this situation that that line exists. I think that line, if there was one, it had been crossed a long time ago, so there's absolutely no need for any kind of respect. That's why I have no problem smacking him, spitting on him, or saying what I said, and honestly, if his mother was there, or if anybody and his family was there, I would have done the same thing to them. I could care less.
Why Bareknuckle Boxing? You have such a good setup right now. You're one of the top commentators in boxing. Why want to go that route? Paulie, you're going to do so much damage to your face. You realize that, right?
You think so? I don't know. I've seen some of the other fights. There's a skill set. I think people are also judging it on that fight with Lobov and Knight, and that was very, very poor skill set from both guys. So as much as it was an exciting fight, it was a very, very poor set of skills shown by both guys. I've seen some guys, if you watch, for example, like a Reggie Barnett, who's also signed to that promotion. He's a very good boxer, and you rarely see him take that kind of damage, or he takes very minimal damage in his fights. I think when you have a boxer that knows what he's doing, I think you're going to do more damage than you're going to take. Obviously, yes, you don't get in the shower without getting wet. I don't go into a fight thinking I'm just not going to get hit, but I do plan on, being the one dominating the fight and not really getting hit. But if it happens, it's going to happen. What are we going to do? I've been in street fights, I've been in boxing matches my whole life, so I think, I'm not worried about getting hit if it does happen. But at day's end, I also am pretty confident that this is going to be a very, very bloody fight for Artem Lobov and not for myself. I'm going to bludgeon this guy.
Now, are you under, is there a certain amount of fights in a contract? Is this a one-off thing?
It's a 2-year contract, but we don't know how many fights we're going to do yet. I'm going to concentrate on Lobov, and then we'll see what presents itself. I do think that once I smack him around, there will be other opportunities that may present themselves, and then we'll see. I'm 38, so I look at it one at a time. But of course, if a situation presents itself that is appealing to me, I'm not against it. Just like I wasn't against this situation. I would have not thought I was going to fight before this, but the situation presented itself, and it was appealing in various ways, so we ended up doing it.
So you also said that you were looking to put him in a coma, and I want to go back to the recent comments that Deontay Wilder also made, and about putting Brazil basically 6 feet under. The WBC is now implementing what they call the WBC Code of Ethics, which will now make a fighter more responsible for the things that he says. What is your opinion on that, and do you feel like that's going to restrict fighters from building a fight?
We're in a PC generation. I do think that, like I said, there is lines you probably shouldn't cross at times, but every circumstance is a bit different. I think you also have to judge every circumstance differently. You don't take every situation as the same kind of thing. If you take what I'm saying out of context, which is taking it out of context means just judging the press conference for the press conference and saying what I said just for that moment. Yes, then you're taking it out of context and you're going to misunderstand everything. But when you take the whole context in full, and like I said, you understand the last 2 years and you understand what's been going on. And when this all started, all I did was defend a lie. This whole thing was a lie. Conor McGregor did not beat me up. Conor McGregor did not drop me. And for me, just calling him a liar, this all started. And then, of course, you have only his guys that were allowed in the gym that fanned the flames by continuing to push a lie. And then it just snowballed into this momentum that it's been taken on now. So when you have crossed that line, because I don't like liars in general. Like, for me, a liar is one of the skeeviest things in life in general. So when these guys actually took out a lie and took this lie and then broadcast it to the point where now it's become the perceived truth, it's actually become even more of an antagonizing thing. So you crossed the line. You crossed the line a long time ago. So like I said, there is absolutely no need for me to respect anything nor care about what happens to him after the fight, during the fight, before the fight, and of course what I say to him, because I really, for me, there's no sense of respect at all for him or anybody involved with him or anybody involved on that side.
Now, Paulie, you've been probably one of the most vocal about drug testing in the sport of boxing. And obviously we know that Andy Ruiz stepped in within a 5-week notice of replacing Big Baby Miller. I'm just curious to know what your thoughts were on, Jarrell Miller testing positive not once, not twice, but 3 times for 3 different substances.
Yeah, it's a shame. That would have been a great fight. I do think Andy Ruiz coming in on 5.5 weeks' notice is still good because he had just beaten Alexander Dimitrenko the week before he accepted this fight, so he was still in shape. And I think it's the same level of heavyweight, Ruiz and Jarrell Miller. Having said that, yeah, it's a shame anytime somebody gets popped and you realize that this thing is kind of a rampant thing. I still think the guys that get caught compared to the guys that actually do it is very fractional, very marginal. I still don't think you're even close to catching the actual percentage of fighters that are doping. I think most of them are. But of course, anytime you get a popped positive test, it is a disappointing thing. But it's also becoming kind of the norm to where fighters kind of have to do it in order to survive at the elite level, or they won't even make the elite level. So it's a shame.
What do you think would make fighters, I guess, a little bit more afraid of taking that risk? Would it be like a lifetime ban off the first time? Would it be, because right now I feel like we're getting a bit of a slap on the wrist.
I've noticed there's a 2-year ban in the UFC. That's a start. That's a great start. I mean, if you're first, 2 years off for a fighter, sometimes that's a fighter's prime is just 2 years,
right.
So costing you 2 years to get popped is a real risk you're taking, and I think that will be a big start. If you put a 2-year ban as the first, that's like your first warning is a 2-year ban, and then the second one is 4 years or whatever.
Yeah.
I think the fear of that would start to decrease the guys who start to use it. But unfortunately, boxing likes this. Everybody in boxing pretends they want a clean sport, but they don't want a clean sport because fighters that are doping set better records. They've been put on more action-packed fights. They get more knockouts. They fight till they're older, so the star power increases because they can last longer in their prime. So
you feel like if we stopped it, or if they stopped it, then we wouldn't be having exciting fights?
No, you'd have exciting fights. You'd just have like the normal days where your prime lasts only a certain amount of time and then you're old. Or you don't go up 15 weight classes, or if you do, your power doesn't carry, and then you have to be more clever, and so you have to show your greatness by being more clever as opposed to just carrying power up all kinds of weight classes. You wouldn't see these things. So you'd manufacture a more quality fighting fighting business, and you'd also allow younger talent to kind of blossom more and more because the older guys will be gone as opposed to taking up all the TV dates because they're doping and lasting 20 years longer than they should.
Right. Well, Paulie, I know we're about to start, and I would love to continue to sit and talk with you, but from what I understand, they're going to bring Joshua in at any point now, and I think they're walking him down literally where we are.
Let's get out of his way, then.
Yeah, let's definitely get out of his way. But I definitely want to catch up with you a little bit later because I want to ask you a bit more about, Joshua and Ruiz and who you think wins. And then I wish you nothing but the best for your next fight. What is it? It's June the 22nd.
June the 22nd on Fight TV, fight.tv. Order it on your pay-per-view because you don't want to see what I could do to this guy.
I'm really looking forward.
Or you don't want to miss it. You do want to see it. You might have to turn your head, but you will want to see it.
All right, thank you, Paulie. Appreciate your time. Bye, Fight fans.
Hey Fight fans, it's Michelle Joy Phelps. If you haven't already subscribed to our YouTube channel, make sure you do so by clicking this icon right here, or else